The stars seemed colder from the bridge of the UEV horizon. Captain William Elias stood with hands clasped behind his back, watching the darkness beyond the viewscreen. This edge of human space had been his home for 3 years now. The boundary line that separated human territory from the vast domains of the Vorkadian Alliance was nothing more than numbers on a chart, but crossing it meant death, or worse. "Captain, we're approaching the outer patrol marker," said Lieutenant Frank Miller from the navigation station. William nodded. "Standard sweep pattern, Lieutenant. Let's not give our alien friends any reason to complain." The Horizon was a diplomatic vessel in name only. Everyone knew its real purpose was to show the flag at the edge of human space, a reminder that Earth hadn't completely surrendered its pride when it signed the peace treaty 15 years ago. A treaty many still called a miracle. William knew better. He had fought in the war. He had seen what Vorkadian weapons could do. "Sir, I'm picking up something unusual," said Susan Wright, the sensor officer. Her voice had that careful tone people used when they weren't sure if they had discovered something important or made a mistake. William walked to her station. "Define unusual, Officer Wright." "A signal, sir. Weak but consistent. It's coming from beyond the boundary." The bridge fell silent. Everyone knew the rules. Nothing crossed the boundary. Not ships, not probes, not even communications. That was the deal that kept humanity safe. "Could be natural radiation," suggested Commander Catherine Morgan, his executive officer and oldest friend aboard. "That sector has 3 pulsars." Susan shook her head. "No, Commander. This is artificial. The pattern is too regular." William studied the readings. Catherine was right to offer an innocent explanation. The proper response was to ignore the signal, complete their patrol, file a routine report. That's what Admiral Porter would expect. Yet something about the signal's frequency nagged at him. It was almost like, "That's a human emergency beacon," he said quietly. "An old one, military grade from the war." Catherine's eyes widened. "That's impossible. There are no human outposts beyond the boundary." There never were. "Prepare a probe," William ordered. "Minimal sensors, passive scan only." Frank looked up from his station. "Sir, that would technically violate the treaty." "The probe won't cross, Lieutenant. It will just get us a better reading from the edge." An hour later, William stared at the probe's data in his private quarters, his coffee long forgotten and cold. The signal was definitely coming from a planet deep in Vorkadian territory. More shocking than the signal itself were the other readings the probe had captured. Power signatures, structures, atmospheric modifications consistent with human settlement patterns. According to every official record, no human colonies existed outside Earth-controlled space. Yet the evidence on his screen suggested a settlement of at least 5,000 people. His terminal beeped with an incoming priority message from Earth Command. Admiral Gina Porter's face appeared, her expression severe. "Captain Elias, our monitoring stations detected your probe launch. Explain yourself." William reported his findings precisely, watching as Porter's expression shifted from anger to something harder to read. After a long pause, she said, "Delete that data, Captain. All of it. Forget what you think you found and continue your patrol. Admiral, with respect, if there are humans beyond the boundary." "The peace is fragile, Captain," she cut him off. "Some truths are better left undiscovered." "That's an order. Porter out." The screen went dark. William sat in silence, the deleted data still burning in his mind. He had obeyed the order, of course, but he couldn't forget what he'd seen. As ship's night fell and the crew shifted to minimal staffing, William's personal terminal chimed with a message from an unknown source. He opened it cautiously. The message contained only one line: "The truth lies beyond the boundary. Peace built on deception cannot last." William stared at the words, feeling the foundations of everything he had fought for begin to crack. William barely slept that night. The message on his terminal haunted him, as did the sensor readings he'd been ordered to delete. By morning, he knew he faced the biggest choice of his career: follow orders and protect the peace, or risk everything to find answers. He called Catherine and Dr. Alan Reeves to his quarters. They were more than his officers. They were friends who had served with him since the war ended. If anyone would understand his dilemma, they would. "I need your advice," William said after explaining everything. "And I need your discretion." Catherine paced the small room. "Will, millions died in the war. The treaty saved what was left of humanity. If you pursue this, you risk everything we've built." "But what if the peace is based on lies?" William asked. "What if there are humans beyond the boundary who need our help?" Alan, who had been quiet until now, looked up. His eyes carried old pain. He had lost his parents and sister when the Vorkadians attacked New Boston Colony. "I've never trusted the treaty," Alan said. "It came too suddenly, when we were still holding our own. The government has been hiding something since day one." William's terminal chimed again. Another encrypted message had arrived with coordinates to a hidden space station. The message claimed he could learn the truth about the peace there. "The station is in neutral space," William noted, studying the star chart. "Going there wouldn't violate the treaty, technically. But it would raise questions," Catherine warned. "Earth Command monitors all ship movements." That evening, William made a personal call to his brother George, a senior diplomat who had helped draft parts of the peace treaty. He carefully asked about rumors of human activity beyond the boundary. George's smile seemed forced. "You've been on patrol too long, Will. There's nothing out there but Vorkadian worlds." "Are you certain?" William pressed. "The boundary restrictions seem extreme, even for a peace treaty." George's expression hardened. "Don't chase ghosts, Will. Some questions are dangerous to ask." He ended the call abruptly. William couldn't sleep again that night. He kept thinking about the signal, the coordinates, his brother's warning, and Admiral Porter's order. By morning, he had made his decision. He called Catherine to his office. "I'm setting course for those coordinates. I'll tell the crew we're conducting specialized sensor calibrations." "This could end your career," Catherine said. "Maybe worse." "I know. That's why I'm giving you a choice. You and Alan are the only ones who know the truth. You can report me now, or come with me, and help find answers." Catherine sighed. "You know I won't report you, and neither will Alan. But this is bigger than us, Will. If there's something beyond that boundary that Earth Command wants hidden, there's probably a good reason. Or a terrible one," William replied. "Either way, I need to know." 3 days later, the UEV Horizon veered from its patrol route. The ship's logs showed authorization for a sensor calibration exercise. Only William, Catherine, and Alan knew their true destination. As they approached the coordinates, long-range sensors detected a small structure orbiting a dwarf star. It appeared to be an abandoned mining facility, the kind corporations had used before the war to extract rare elements from unstable stellar bodies. "No power readings," Catherine reported. "If anyone's there, they're running dark. Or they're very good at hiding," William said. "Prepare a shuttle. The 3 of us will go. The rest of the crew stays here." As they boarded the shuttle, Ellen asked the question William had been avoiding. "What if this is a trap?" William checked his sidearm. "Then we spring it and deal with the consequences." The shuttle launched toward the dark station. As they drew closer, small lights activated along a docking port. An invitation. "Someone's definitely home," Catherine said. William took a deep breath. He had crossed a line that couldn't be uncrossed. Whatever waited aboard that station would change everything he thought he knew about the peace humanity had enjoyed for 15 years. "Take us in," he ordered. "It's time to learn the truth." The shuttle docked with a soft thud. William, Catherine, and Alan stood at the airlock, weapons ready. The station seemed dead from the outside, but the active docking lights suggested otherwise. "Air pressure is normal," Alan said, checking his scanner. "Oxygen levels too. Someone's maintaining life support." William nodded. "Stay alert. We don't know who sent that message or why." The airlock cycled open, revealing a dark corridor. Emergency lights cast long shadows as they moved forward. The station creaked and groaned around them, metal contracting in the cold of space. "This place is old," Catherine whispered. "Pre-war design. Mining corporation standard." They reached a junction where the corridor split in 3 directions. A faint light glowed from the left passage. "That way," William said, pointing. The passage led to a large control room. Unlike the rest of the station, this room hummed with active equipment. Screens displayed star charts, ship movements, and data streams William didn't recognize. A woman stood with her back to them, studying one of the screens. When she turned, William felt like he'd seen a ghost. "Elizabeth Vega," he said in disbelief. "You're supposed to be dead." Elizabeth smiled thinly. She looked older than in the intelligence briefings William remembered from the war, her dark hair now streaked with gray. "Reports of my death were convenient," she said. "Welcome to our little outpost, Captain Elias. I've been waiting for someone like you, someone who notices things that don't add up." 3 more people entered the room, all with the hard look of former military. "We call ourselves the Witnesses," Elizabeth explained. "We've been gathering evidence for 15 years. "Evidence of what?" Alan asked. Elizabeth's face darkened. "The greatest lie ever told to humanity." She pressed a button, and the main screen changed to show footage of a planet being consumed by a strange, rippling energy. This was New Avalon Colony, population 12 million. The Vorkadians used a weapon that targeted human DNA directly. No buildings destroyed, no resources wasted, just every human life gone. William felt cold. "That's impossible. New Avalon was destroyed by conventional weapons." "That's the official story," Elizabeth said. "The truth is, Earth was losing the war badly. This weapon could have wiped out humanity entirely. Our leaders surrendered, but they called it a peace treaty to save face." Catherine shook her head. "If this is true, why keep it secret? The war is over." "Because the treaty wasn't a fair deal," Elizabeth continued. "The restricted zones aren't about respecting alien territory. They hide dozens of human worlds now under Vorkadian control. What you detected wasn't a colony, Captain. It was a research facility. Those humans aren't settlers. They're test subjects." William thought of Admiral Porter's warning, his brother's evasion. It was starting to make terrible sense. "Why reveal this now?" William asked. "Why to me?" "Because the Vorkadians are almost finished with their research," Elizabeth said. "For 15 years, Earth leadership has played for time, developing countermeasures against their weapon. We're finally close to neutralizing it." She handed William a small crystal data drive. "Everything we know is here. The truth about the treaty, the hidden colonies, the weapon research. What you do with it is your choice." William stared at the drive. "If I take this back, expose the truth, war will come again," Elizabeth finished. "But this time, we might have a fighting chance." Alan looked at the screen, at the images of the research facility William had detected. "Those people need to be freed." Catherine remained practical. "If we do this, we're committing treason against Earth Command. We'll be hunted by our own people." William closed his fingers around the data crystal. "Our duty is to humanity, not just Earth Command. If our leaders sacrificed these people for a false peace, they betrayed that duty first." As they prepared to return to the horizon, Elizabeth stopped William. "Captain, understand this. Once you look at what's on that crystal, there's no going back. You'll have to choose between truth and peace, and that choice will change everything." William nodded. "I think I made my choice the moment I diverted my ship to these coordinates." The shuttle departed the hidden station, carrying 3 officers and 1 crystal of data that could shatter 15 years of painful peace. Back aboard the Horizon, William locked himself in his quarters with Catherine and Alan. They inserted the data crystal into a secure terminal disconnected from the ship's main systems. The evidence was overwhelming. Thousands of classified documents scrolled across the screen, military reports, suppressed distress calls from human colonies, and research files on the Vorkadian genetic weapon. "This can't be real," Catherine whispered, but her voice lacked conviction. The evidence matched too many odd details they'd observed over the years. Alan studied the scientific data. According to these files, the weapon has flaws. It affects humans with certain genetic markers less severely. Earth scientists have been working on enhancing those markers in our population. William felt sick. "So our leaders have known all along that thousands of our people are being experimented on. And they've done nothing." "They made a choice," Catherine said quietly. "Sacrifice some to save most." "A choice they had no right to make," William replied. "And they've lied about it for 15 years. A message alert flashed on William's official terminal. Admiral Porter was ordering the Horizon to return to Earth immediately. The message didn't mention their detour, but the timing couldn't be coincidence. "They know," Alan said. "Maybe they tracked us to the station." William nodded. "We need to decide what to do with this information, and fast." Catherine suggested caution. "We could bring this to trusted officials on Earth. There must be people in power who don't know the full truth." William wasn't sure. He needed to talk to someone who might know more. Using his personal encrypted channel, he contacted his brother George. When George's face appeared on the screen, William could see immediately that his brother was tense. Without revealing what he knew, William carefully asked about human presence beyond the boundary. George's reaction confirmed everything. His face hardened, and his voice grew cold. "What would you have had them do?" George asked angrily. "Sacrifice everyone for pride. The weapon was real, Will. I've seen the reports. We couldn't fight that. So we gave them our own people instead," William demanded. George's eyes widened in alarm. "What do you know? Who have you been talking to?" The connection terminated suddenly. Minutes later, ship sensors detected multiple Earth military vessels changing course to intercept the Horizon. "This isn't a coincidence," Catherine said, checking the tactical display. "Someone sent those ships specifically for us." William faced the hardest decision of his career. Follow orders, return to Earth, and likely see the evidence confiscated and buried forever, or take more drastic action. "I need to speak to the crew," he said finally. In the ship's main assembly area, William addressed his people. He didn't share classified details, but explained enough that they had discovered evidence suggesting the peace treaty had hidden costs, that humans might be suffering beyond the boundary, and that Earth Command seemed determined to keep this hidden. "I believe we have a duty to investigate further," William said. "But I won't order anyone to follow me into what might be considered treason. Each of you has a choice." He offered each crew member an option: transfer to the approaching Earth vessels, or join him on an unauthorized mission to verify the truth firsthand. The room fell silent. William watched faces, saw the confusion and fear, the struggle between duty and conscience. Chief Engineer Paul Garcia stood first. "I've always thought the treaty stank." "I'm with you, Captain." One by one, others stood. Security Officer Lisa Chen, Navigation Officer Frank Miller, the medical staff, engineering, even the youngest crew members. In the end, only 4 chose to transfer, all officers with family in sensitive government positions. Catherine looked stunned. 79 out of 83. "I didn't expect that." William hadn't either. The weight of their trust pressed on him like a physical burden. "Set course for the boundary," he ordered. "We're going to see this human research facility with our own eyes." As the Horizon prepared to cross into forbidden space, William knew they were committing to a path from which there could be no return. The Horizon crossed the boundary with Earth vessels in pursuit. William ordered the activation of the ship's experimental stealth systems. It wasn't perfect, but it might buy them time. Catherine plotted a course to the human colony they had detected. "We'll pass through 3 different Vorkadian territories," she said. "If we're spotted, there's no way we can outfight them." William watched the star map as they traveled. He noticed how the alien settlements had grown since the treaty. The peace had clearly benefited the Vorkadian alliance more than humanity. 3 days later, they reached the colony's star system. What they found shocked them all. "That's not just a research facility," Alan said, studying the sensor readings. "That's a full security perimeter. Military-grade defenses, patrol ships, orbital platforms. We can't get close without being detected." William frowned. The files mentioned supply ships that visit regularly. "If we could intercept one and pretend to be the supply crew," Catherine finished. "It might work, but it's risky." They waited in the shadow of a small moon, watching the facility's traffic patterns. On the second day, sensors detected a supply ship approaching the planet. "That's our chance," William said. "Let's see if the Horizon systems can crack their communication codes." The ship's tech specialist, Nancy Ward, managed to intercept and decode the supply ship's authorization signals. "I can replicate this," she confirmed, "but only for a small shuttle. The Horizon is too big to pass as a supply vessel." William selected a team: himself, Catherine, Alan, and 3 security officers led by Lisa Chen. They boarded the shuttle while the Horizon remained hidden. Using the stolen codes, they approached the planet unchallenged. From orbit, the colony looked normal. A settlement of neat buildings, roads, and green spaces. Only when they landed at the supply depot did the truth become clear. The colonists moved with strange mechanical precision. Guards watched from every corner. And at the main research building, William's team saw people being processed like cattle, measured, tested, and sorted into groups. "They don't even know they're prisoners," Alan whispered as they moved through the facility in stolen supply worker uniforms. "Look at their eyes. They think this is normal." In a secure lab, they found records showing generations of genetic modifications. Children born in the facility were tested at birth. Those with promising traits were kept for further study. The others disappeared. As they gathered evidence, a voice spoke behind them. "You're not supposed to be here." They turned to face a thin man in a white coat. His name badge read Dr. Victor Reed. William prepared to fight, but the man raised his hands. "I've been waiting for someone like you," Victor said quickly. "I was brought here as a prisoner 5 years ago. They kept me alive because of my genetic research background." "What are they doing here?" William demanded. "They're not just studying us," Victor explained. "They're creating a new version of humanity, one that can be controlled, one that won't fight back when they finally decide to take Earth too." Lisa checked the corridor. "Captain, we need to move. Security patrols are increasing." Just then, alarms blared throughout the facility. A voice announced a security breach. "They've detected your ship," Victor said. "The Horizon isn't as hidden as you thought." William activated his comm. "Horizon, status report." The reply came through static. "Multiple Vorkadian vessels approaching, Captain. They've spotted us. We're preparing to defend." Their extraction point was now compromised. Without the Horizon, they would be trapped on the planet. "We need a new plan," Catherine said. "And we need it now." William looked at Victor. "Is there another way off this planet?" "There's an auxiliary landing pad for emergency evacuations," Victor replied. "I can show you, but we'll need to move fast." As security forces converged on their position, William made a split-second decision that would change everything. "We're not leaving alone," he said, looking at the confused test subjects in nearby rooms. "We're taking as many of these people as we can." Alarms wailed throughout the facility. Red lights flashed in every corridor. William and his team moved quickly, following Victor through maintenance passageways. "The main exits will be heavily guarded," Victor explained. "But the emergency launch pad should have minimal security. It's meant for the research staff, not the test subjects." Catherine checked her weapon. "How many people can we evacuate on our shuttle?" 20 at most," William replied. "And that's pushing the life support systems." They reached a residential section, where confused test subjects emerged from their quarters, unsure if the alarm was a drill. William saw fear in their eyes. These people had never experienced a real emergency. "Listen to me," William called out. "I'm Captain William Elias from Earth. This isn't a normal settlement. You're test subjects in a Vorkadian experiment. We can get some of you out, but we need to move fast." Most stared in confusion. A few backed away in fear, but 12 stepped forward, including a young woman with unusual amber eyes. "I always knew something was wrong here," she said. "I'm Olivia, and I believe you." With their group now numbering 19, they hurried toward the auxiliary launch pad. Victor led them through service tunnels where security cameras had been disabled years ago. "They don't maintain these areas well," Victor said. "Cost-cutting. The Vorkadians are efficient, but lazy when they think no one is looking." The ship's comm crackled. "Captain, this is the horizon. We're engaged with 2 Vorkadian patrol ships. Can't hold position much longer." "Understood," William replied. "We're heading for extraction now. Be ready to jump as soon as we're aboard." They reached a junction where they needed to cross an open area to reach the launch pad. Security forces were visible in the distance, moving toward the main facility entrance. "We need a diversion," William said. Catherine stepped forward. "The power regulation station is right there. If I overload it, it would create a temporary blackout." "Too dangerous," William objected. "You could be trapped." "I'll set a timer," Catherine insisted. "Give me 3 minutes." While Catherine worked on the power station, Victor pulled William aside. "You should know about Olivia. She's special. The 15th generation of modifications. They've been giving her cognitive enhancement treatments since she was born." William glanced at the quiet young woman. "What does that mean exactly?" "She processes information differently," Victor explained. "Faster, more connections. The Vorkadians see her as the prototype for their perfect controllable human." Catherine returned, breathless. "Done. We have 2 minutes before this whole section loses power." They prepared to cross the open area when plasma fire erupted from their left. A security team had spotted them. Alan pushed a young test subject out of the way and took a hit to his shoulder. He fell with a cry of pain. William and Lisa returned fire while the others dragged Alan to safety. They managed to reach cover just as the lights went out. In the darkness, they sprinted for the launch pad. The emergency shuttle stood ready, its systems on standby. As William herded everyone aboard, more security forces converged on their position. "Get them inside," William shouted, firing to keep the Vorkadians back. Lisa stayed with him, providing covering fire. With everyone aboard, William and Lisa made a final dash for the shuttle. Lisa took a hit to her leg, but kept moving. William pulled her inside and sealed the door. Catherine took the pilot's seat and launched immediately. The shuttle rocketed upward, pursued by Vorkadian fighters. "Horizon, we're coming in hot," William called. 12 civilians plus our team. Alan and Lisa are wounded. Above, the Horizon engaged the enemy fighters, creating a path for the shuttle. Once docked, Catherine immediately set course for the coordinates Elizabeth had provided as a fallback point. "Emergency jump now," William ordered as more Vorkadian ships appeared. The jump drives engaged, tearing a hole in space. The ship shuddered violently, warning lights flashing across every control panel. But they made it, leaving their pursuers behind. In the medical bay, Dr. Alan Reeves fought for his life, the wound deeper than it first appeared. Nearby, the rescued test subjects huddled together, overwhelmed by their sudden freedom and the reality of what their lives had truly been. William watched them and wondered what he'd done. He had saved 12 people, but crossed a line that could never be uncrossed. Whatever happened now, war seemed inevitable. The damaged Horizon limped to the coordinates Elizabeth had provided. They found a hidden base tucked inside a dense asteroid field, the main headquarters of the Witnesses. Elizabeth greeted them at the docking bay. Her eyes widened at the sight of the rescued test subjects. "You actually went in and got them out," she said. "I didn't think anyone would dare." We couldn't leave them once we saw the truth, William replied. But we need repairs, and Alan needs better medical care than we can provide. The witness's medical team took Alan to surgery. His condition was critical. The Vorkadian weapon had caused damage that continued to spread through his tissues. While the Horizon underwent repairs, William and Catherine worked with Elizabeth to integrate their new evidence with what the witnesses had already gathered. The picture grew darker with each new piece of information. These modifications they're testing, William said, examining the files they'd stolen. What's the purpose? Victor, who had joined them at the base, pointed to the brain scans of test subjects. Control. They're altering the neural pathways to make humans more susceptible to suggestion, more docile. The perfect workforce. And Olivia? Catherine asked. You said she was special. The 15th generation, Victor confirmed. They've enhanced her cognitive functions rather than limiting them. She's a prototype for their leadership class, humans who will help control other humans. As if summoned by her name, Olivia entered the room. Despite the trauma of escape and the revelations about her life, she appeared calm. I want to help, she said simply. I always knew I was different. Now I know why. Tests revealed the extent of Olivia's abilities. She processed information at speeds that amazed even the witnesses' scientists. When connected to computer systems, she intuitively understood them in ways that seemed impossible. Working with the Horizon's communication specialist, Olivia helped develop a plan to bypass both Earth and Vorkadian communication systems. We could broadcast everything, she suggested. Every human world should know the truth. William considered this. A broadcast would certainly trigger conflict with the Vorkadians. Elizabeth agreed. But what's the alternative? Let them continue experimenting until they have their perfect slave species. William studied the star charts showing the positions of Earth forces and Vorkadian fleets. If war came, the initial battles would be devastating. There's something else, Elizabeth said. Our intelligence suggests the Vorkadians are ready to implement their modifications on a larger scale. They may be preparing for a mass deployment to all remaining human populations. The news hit William like a physical blow. Time was running out. We need to position relay drones at key points throughout both human and Vorkadian space, he decided. A network that can't be easily shut down. The plan required multiple teams. William split his crew among several ships provided by the witnesses. He would command the Horizon, taking it near Earth to position the master relay, the most dangerous assignment. As they prepared to depart, Catherine approached him. This will mean war, Will. Are we ready for that? The question isn't whether we're ready, William replied. It's whether we have a choice. Catherine would lead a team to place relays near the hidden colonies, increasing the chance that the truth would reach those who needed it most. The ships departed one by one, each with a specific mission. William watched from the Horizon's bridge as Catherine's vessel disappeared into jump space. Just before his own ship jumped, Olivia joined him on the bridge. Captain, she said, I've been thinking about what they did to me, what they plan to use me for. I want you to know. I'm glad you found us. William nodded. So am I. The Horizon engaged its jump drive, heading toward Earth, and whatever consequences awaited them there. The Horizon reached Earth's outer defense perimeter. Using every stealth trick they knew, William's reduced crew managed to slip past the initial patrols. Relay drone ready for deployment, Nancy reported from the communication station. William nodded. Hold position. We need to be sure it can't be easily detected once activated. Just as they prepared to launch the relay, sensors detected an approaching vessel. Not a patrol ship, but Admiral Porter's flagship. They found us, William said grimly. Prepare to. Captain, Nancy interrupted. They're hailing us. Admiral Porter is asking for you directly. William hesitated, then accepted the transmission. Porter's face appeared on the main screen, her expression not angry but resigned. I know why you're here, Captain, she said. And you're right. But your timing is wrong. We need 6 more months to complete our preparations. What preparations? William demanded. A defensive system that can neutralize their genetic weapon, Porter explained. The peace wasn't just about buying time. It was about developing a counter to the Vorkadians' advantage. William studied Porter's face. You knew about the test subjects. The human colonies. A terrible price, Porter admitted. One I've lived with every day for 15 years. But if we move too soon, we risk everything. Before William could respond, a damaged ship emerged from jump space nearby. It was Catherine's vessel, barely intact. Her face appeared on a secondary screen, blood streaking her forehead. Will, she gasped. The Vorkadians, they are moving. Not in 6 months. Now, they're preparing for mass deployment of the modifications to all remaining human populations. Porter's face paled. That's impossible. Our intelligence was wrong, Catherine interrupted. Or they fed you false information. We intercepted their command signals. It's already beginning. William made his decision instantly. Launch the relay. Begin the broadcast. The relay drone deployed, connecting instantly with the others his teams had positioned throughout human and Vorkadian space. The broadcast began, transmitting everything. The evidence of experimentation, Victor's explanation of the genetic modifications, and most importantly, instructions on how to counteract them. On Earth, people gathered around screens as the truth spread. Government buildings filled with angry protesters. Military vessels hung in space, crews divided between orders and truth. The Vorkadian response came swiftly. Their ships appeared near Earth, preparing to deploy their weapon against the planet directly. But something unexpected happened. Earth's defensive grid activated, projecting a field that Porter's scientists had developed specifically to counter genetic attacks. For the first time, the Vorkadians faced a humanity that could withstand their ultimate weapon. Williams watched it all from the Horizon's bridge. When Vorkadian warships surrounded his vessel, he knew what would happen next. All personnel to evacuation pods, he ordered. I'll maintain the broadcast as long as possible. His remaining crew protested, but William was firm. That's an order. The broadcast must continue, no matter the cost. As the last pod ejected, William stood alone on the bridge. Reports flowed in from across human space. Earth forces engaging Vorkadian fleets, colonial uprisings gaining ground, other alien species seizing the opportunity to break free from Vorkadian control. The first hit rocked the horizon. Systems failed across the ship, but the relay held. The broadcast continued. William sent one final message to Catherine, now safely away. Truth was worth it. The horizon exploded in a flash of light, but the broadcast didn't stop. Olivia's design had made the relay network self-sustaining once activated. 1 year later, Catherine stood on the bridge of her own ship, now a captain. The war continued, but humanity fought with full knowledge and new allies. The hidden colonies were being liberated one by one. Olivia stood beside her, now a bridge officer. Was it worth it? She asked. Trading peace for truth. Catherine watched the stars. Borders redrawn. Alliances reformed. A galaxy transformed by one captain's choice. William believed some truths are worth any price, she answered. He was right. False peace preserves nothing worth saving. The truth, however painful, gives us something to actually fight for.